Hello and welcome to the Flex podcast. I am Anna and today we're going to be chatting about something related to your mindset. Something related to your mindset, real specific. But basically, sometimes things happen to our bodies that set us back a little bit. And maybe not just body, but sometimes it might be that it's a bit of our minds. We've had to have a little break for whatever reason. You know, stuff goes on. And then we've got to get back to it and it can feel quite tricky. Likewise with the injury, as soon as we get something that's going on with our body and we have to adapt what we're doing, it can feel a bit annoying. And nothing I say in this, by the way, is going to replace what your actual fully qualified professional physiotherapist has told you to do, by the way. But this is just coming at it from my aspect as someone who is generally somewhat injured or managing something at any given time. Now, for those of you that don't know, I've got scoliosis. I've had this forever, since I was 9. And so I am lucky in that I work in fitness, and the best thing I've ever done for my back is resistance training, and I have learned the hard way that not doing it has a massive effect on me. So for me, it is non-negotiable. I virtually never miss a workout. And that isn't me being a smug bastard, by the way. I'm trying to just explain how important I know that to be to my health and wellness. And I know that sometimes it can feel a bit frustrating when bits of us aren't working as well as we wish they were. Like, for example, I've got a knee injury today. I fucked it up at class last night because I decided in my infinite wisdom that I was absolutely fine working on the floor on my knees without a mat. So obviously my knees are knobbly. I've probably twisted it trying to get up without hurting my actual knee skin on the floor. And now it's a pain in my ass, and until about an hour ago I couldn't straighten it properly. So it's irritating. But the one thing I do know is that this feels better when I'm moving and worse after I have sat still. So what that tells me is that I'm going to try to keep moving as much as I can. Obviously, I've got to sit down for work. But I'm going to try and keep it moving. I'm definitely going to hit my step count in. It's painful. I am not going running today. I am, however, still going to train because I was on upper body today anyway, and my knee has got absolutely nothing to do with anything above the belly button. I can train sat down. I'm obviously not going to train standing, throwing heavy weights above my head with my knee that feels like it's going to give way. But I can do everything that I want to do. Is push days. I'm going to be able to do a bench press. I can do a seated shoulder press. I can work my triceps. I can do fly on the cable because nothing's going to fall on me. There are things that I can do to work around. This is just a knee. It is not involved in the rest of what I want to do. Yes, this might have an effect on my ability to jump when I go to teach tomorrow night. But in the meantime, what I can do is move it, keep it moving, try to make it move as naturally as possible without limping around too much. And I can carry on doing the other stuff that I want to do, like train my upper body. Is it frustrating? Probably, possibly, yes. Like for me, not really. It doesn't really have a massive effect on what I'm doing today. It's a sunny day. I'm having a great time, regardless of whether my knee hurts a bit. I don't see it as like this overwhelming thing that is taking over. And I think that could be a really important mindset shift as well, because it's definitely how I feel about my back. Like sometimes it starts to go and spasm and I look like a little banana. And I've got to a point with it where I just laugh at myself. And I look in the mirror and I think, hello, little banana girl. And I have a little giggle because I always think if an alien landed right now, they wouldn't have a clue what was going on because my whole body's bent over to the side. And that makes me feel a lot happier about it, if I can say that, because if the more I stress about what may or may not happen from having scoliosis when I'm older, or if my muscle spasms get worse again or anything like that, the more I think about it, it's just stressful. That isn't helping how I feel about it. and it isn't helping me have a positive mindset towards training around it. It isn't helping me move forwards with my training. So I do think that sometimes we have to kind of like take a little step back from that immediate feeling of panic. And I'm not talking about when you've torn a ligament, by the way, or you've got to have, you know, ligament repair surgery. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, those little niggles that happen just because they happen. And sometimes taking that little step back from it and getting a bit of perspective. Is there still stuff I can do? Yes. Is it moderately uncomfortable? Yeah, it might be. Is it keeping me awake all night because screaming in pain? Probably not. Like, there's swings and roundabouts with everything, and sometimes I think getting that bit of perspective on how we feel about something can be really helpful. You've had a cold, say, for 3 weeks. Maybe you have had to take off 3 weeks because it's been so bad. But realistically, for most people, the symptoms of being poorly happen in like a short period of time, then they then carry on skipping afterwards. It might be that you felt rough as arseholes for like 3 or 4 days, but then you start to feel a bit better. As you start to feel better, obviously depending on what's going on, you can start to add things back in. Like maybe you're going to go for a little walk and see how you feel. Maybe you're going to do a little bit of resistance stuff at home. And when I say a little bit, you're going to try a few squats or a few press-ups or something and see how it feels. See how your cardio is. And then maybe you're just like, it's just time to come back to class, low impact. And then be good and stay low impact and do it. But it's getting straight back in and having that routine. And obviously this isn't aimed at people who have like long-term sick and they've actually got stuff going on. But for a lot of us, we kind of make a rod for our own back because we're thinking, oh, well, I had to miss a whole week with this stupid cold. Now I've ruined it anyway, so I may as well not bother going back until the start of the next month. And actually, that's just rubbish. Let's just be completely honest. It's just rubbish. You can still do stuff just because you're not performing at your optimal level. You can still do stuff, whether it's walking, doing a bit of a class, doing a class but doing it low impact, doing a class but not doing a certain selection of movements because it's not for you at that time, working around the injury that you've got. There's generally stuff that you can do and that you can still tailor things to work for you. And I think it's really important to have that in our mind, that we have the ability to modify stuff and to change it. The more you know about working out and the things that you're doing, the more you can modify things on the spot to fit in what you're doing. Yes, your instructor can help you with that. Yes, if you're PTing with someone, obviously that becomes a lot easier because you're having one-to-one. So as soon as you're having PT, that is completely a lot easier for the PT to do that. When you're in a group, when there's 20 of you, that can be a little bit tricky for the instructor because they're trying to do everything for everyone all at the same time. So whilst you will still get all your options and your things that they'll give you to do instead of, it might not come quite as quickly as if you were having a PT. How you can help with that is to have let the instructor know before that happens, or you need to do that anyway, so there's no or, but as well as staying on top of the modifications that they give you. So if you've gone to them 1 week and said, oh, by the way, I've done this, and then they've given you these 2 or 3 movements, write them down, keep them, memorize them, because you were still going to need them next week. If you're recovering from feeling poorly or having had an injury, you're still going to need those modifications. So write them down and remember them. Then if something else comes up, you're like, oh, actually, we didn't do this particular movement pattern last week and I can't do that one either, then ask and then remember it and record it. The more you know for yourself, the faster you can modify stuff going forward. And that gives you a lot of freedom. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to become a personal trainer or an instructor or whatever, but it does mean that you have a certain amount of control over your own body and what you're doing to it, and therefore what you're doing in other people's classes and workouts. So that gives you a certain sense of freedom, having that knowledge. So do try to make little notes of things and keep on top of that kind of stuff. I do know that it sucks when you get injured and when you're feeling poorly, by the way. I'm not trying to negate any of that, But I do think a lot of it, the kind of getting back into things, a lot of that can weigh quite heavily on a person. And it might come down to that you feel stressed that you're going to go back and not be as fit as you were before. It might be that it makes you feel a bit anxious. It might be that you feel like the social situation of the workout you were going to do, like whether it's like your gym mates or your training buddies or your people in your class or whatever, that social situation might have moved on without you because you've been off for a couple of weeks. I would dare to say, if I may, so what? It is like all of those things do matter. It does matter. Obviously, you might have lost a bit of your fitness level, especially if you've had a couple of weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks off. It might feel a little bit more effort. It might be that you missed something, you missed a social, whatever, because you were poorly or your mates have trained twice without you. The thing is, none of that really matters when it boils down to it, because what matters is your health and wellness, getting back any fitness that you've lost before, getting straight back into it where possible, looking after your awesome body for the rest of your life. What has happened in the meantime, with you being off sick or injured or whatever, really is of no consequence, because the ultimate thing that matters is you. Whether you have missed 4 or 5 weeks workouts because you've been ill and then you were injured and blah, 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 that's annoying, and I really get it. It is annoying to have gone backwards, but it is also completely normal. It happens to everybody. We all get injured, we all get poorly, we all go on holiday and drink everything at the all-inclusive and then feel like shit after. All of these things happen to everybody, or most people. We all have to have a comeback. That's just kind of how it works, right? We're all human beings with things on our body that go wrong. We all have to make a comeback at some point or another. So don't feel, or you feel however you want, but from my side, I don't want you to feel that it is only happening to you. It's happening to everybody all the time. And we all feel the same about it. We all feel like, oh, for fuck's sake, I couldn't do this, and 3 weeks ago I could do this. We all feel like that, but that's kind of life. And especially life with a body that we need to look after and adapt to. We can't always do the exact same thing all the time and be great at it. We can't just progress week on week on week on week on week and everything always get better. You'll find professional athletes who've detached a bicep. You'll find people who've got ACL injuries. You'll find all this stuff going on. It's like shit happens, but we still keep moving and we still keep doing what we can, because our ultimate goal, and is probably the same for most people, is to feel as good as we can, perform as well as we can, and age as well as we can. That's what it comes down to. Our discomfort of being a little bit less fitter than we were 6 weeks ago, really in the grand scheme of life, doesn't really matter. You're going to get it back really quickly. It's probably going to take you a handful of workouts to feel like a superhuman again. Your body will remember what to do. It's pretty cool. It's not that big deal in the grand scheme of life. So let's get a handle on it. Let's get a handle on it and get cracking. So yes, I know it's hard and I know it can be tough and I know it's annoying, believe you me. Injuries are fucking annoying and sometimes they make you want to cry, but ultimately most people have got something that they can do in terms of, like, if you've got a lower body injury, you can train your upper body. If you've got an upper body injury, you can train your lower body. We can alternate things. There's some movement patterns we can still do around certain injuries. Like some people with shoulder injuries can still train like horizontal pulls, like rows. It depends on the shoulder injuries. Don't just take that as given, by the way. But there might be something you can still do for your upper body despite you having an injury in your upper body. It isn't just like an absolute no. You need to talk to your physio and assess what it is that you can do. Most physios for most injuries are not going to tell you to completely rest. Some you will have no choice. But for a lot of injuries that you may or may not have, it's not going to be that bad. that you have to completely rest. It just means that you might have to modify it. So, and modifying it can be frustrating, but it's way better than not being able to do anything. So then we just got to take it on the chin and get on with it. Anyway, always listen to your physio. I'm going to stop talking, but I hope that makes you feel a little bit less alone when you have been injured or you have been poorly. It is annoying. It is annoying. Also, get your veggies in, eat your protein, do what you can to look after your body around injury and poorliness, especially if you get poorly a lot. Want to make sure your immune system's boosted, get lots of sleep, look after yourself, all the good shit. And hopefully you'll be back on it in no time at all, feeling like an absolute machine. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking, and I hope you're good. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll speak to you again soon.